agenda item 1 again. So just remember when you've finished speaking, then please mute. Okay. Right. To receive apologies for absence.
Yes, thank you, Chair. We've had apologies from Councillor Whitlaw.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we have roll call then, please, Mark?
Okay, Chair. Councillor Adams.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Enright.
Present.
Councillor Christine Ford.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Fussell. Councillor Gare.
Present.
Councillor Haas.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Jeremiah.
Present, Chair.
No, you don't mute. No.
Think that out.
Councillor Hudson.
Present.
Councillor Jones.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Kent.
Yeah, we're here.
Councillor Powell.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Priest.
Present, Chair.
Councillor Mann. Councillor McConnell.
Present.
Councillor Thomas.
Present.
And Councillor Wright.
Present.
And Councillor Williams. Sorry, Councillor Williams.
Present.
Chair.
Thank you, Mark. Okay.
Can I
then.
ask everyone apologies of Councillor Whitcomb, please, Chair?
Yeah, Councillor Fussell is back in the room, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor
Did you have a-
Fussell.
Thank you.
Back in the room.
Right, okay, thank you.
Just for info, Chair, I believe Councillor Whittle's attending a funeral. You were on about healthy people earlier.
Yeah, he did send an email. He did call.
Yeah. Okay, tap.
Did you have apologies of Councillor Whitcomb, please?
Councillor Whitcomb's not on this. Is he?
No.
I don't know.
He's not on this, Emma.
All right, that's fine. I wasn't quite sure because I haven't got my list with me. Thank you.
Okay, members. Item 2, declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on this agenda, in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council Constitution, and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Are there any declarations?
Please, Chair.
And none in the room. Okay, thank you all members. Item 3, to approve and sign the following minutes for the Regeneration Scrutiny Committee held on the 7th of November 2023. Seems a long time ago, didn't it, that last meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so we go, this is just for accuracy now, members. So page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. 6. Page 7. I don't see any hands raised, so can I have a mover and a seconder, please, for these minutes?
I'll move that, Chair. Councillor
Thank you.
Adams.
Seconder, please.
Second that, Chair.
Okay, councillor Jeremiah. Okay, can the vote then, please, members? For, against, or if you weren't present, abstain.
That's carried, Chair. 14 votes for and 1 abstention. No votes against.
Okay. thank
Sorry,
you then.
Chair, but I didn't have a vote, so I vote for anyway.
Okay, thank you, Walter. Okay, members, I know it was raised at the pre-meeting and it is not part of the minutes, but the question was asked, and I'm going to ask Mark Williams, or Director, to give us an update by email of the outcome of the meetings with the buses. Because at the last meeting, Mark did say that they were going to be holding meetings with Welsh Government. And we've going to find out what's going to happen. So Mark will send out an email, if you can, please, Mark.
I'll do it via Mark.
So you'll send it to Mark, Jacobs will send it out to us, okay? So we all know what's going on there. Okay, members, item number 4. Considering of any matter referred to this committee with accordance with the.
No matters have been called into this meeting, Chair.
Okay, that's good. So item 5, corporate and regeneration scrutiny committee forward work programme. With you, Mark, please.
Thank you, Chair. Members are asked to view the forward work programme for the Corporate and Regeneration Scrutiny Committee alongside the Cabinet forward work programme in their packs, and to suggest any additions or amendments within the criteria set out in Appendix 3. The next meeting for this committee will be on the 20th of February. We'll have a strategic equality plan report, the recruitment update, capital strategy report, treasury management annual strategy, and also this isn't on the forward work programme in your packs, but there's been a notice of motion put forward by Councillor Etheridge for a public consultation on scrapping first past the post for council elections and introducing single transferable vote system instead. So that notice of motion will also be coming on the agenda on the 20th of February. So if members are happy with the forward work programme, I'd like to seek approval to publish on the council's website. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, can we have a move and a seconder, please, for this? Councillor Mann, I see you put your hand. Are you moving it?
Oh, no, sorry, Chair, it was a different item, different subject.
Okay.
I will move, Chair.
Councillor Adams.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, Councillor Forehead. Okay, to the vote then, please, members. Councillor Williams, did you even vote this time? No?
No vote, Chair, I'd vote for again.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. So with one verbal vote, there's 14 votes for and 1 vote against. So that's carried.
Right, I get 3 hands up here. I get 2 hands up here. Christine, have you got anything? Is it a problem with voting?
It is for me, Chair, Councillor McConnell, and I
Aye.
vote for.
You vote for.
Okay.
Right. Anyone else got a problem voting? Councillor Powell?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not getting the voting slips. I'm in the chat, but I'm not getting the voting slips coming up.
Right, then, how are you voting?
For.
For.
So, thank you, Chair. 3 verbal votes for. So that's 17 votes for.
Right, Councillor Forehead, you got your hand up. Councillor Mann, you got your hand up.
Yes, Chair, I may have misheard earlier, but I thought I heard that nothing had been called in for this meeting. I had an email this morning to say that a report has been called. Sorry?
You're jumping the gun, Colin. You're jumping the gun.
Sorry, Chair, I didn't catch what you said.
I said you're jumping the gun. We're on item 5. Item 6 is where the call in is.
Oh, okay. Apologies, Chair.
Okay. Right. Are we finished with item 5 now? Everyone's happy? No, everyone's had a vote. Yeah? Right, thank you all. Okay, members, we're going to item 6 to receive and consider the following cabinet reports. Okay, so one of them has been called in, and that's the draft Greater Blackwood Master Plan report. So I'm going to invite Councillor Jones to ask the question, please. And thank you, Jan, for sending it in advance so that we can get you the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I thought that was the right way to do it. I've never done this before, but I thought if I was going to do it, I'd do it right. So we'll have a go. Right, I've asked for the report on the Blackwood Master Plan to be brought forward as since it was discussed at scrutiny and agreed at Cabinet, the reduction in the business rate relief from 75 to 40% will affect the master plan. When the plan is largely based on growing the pub and restaurant sector in Blackwood, and I presume in other places as well, but this is the Blackwood Master Plan, it's going to have an effect on it. The reduction will see a 35% cut in business rate relief. I got a couple of bullet points here, just of like questions that have been, that I've just thought up. How many businesses will be affected by the reduction? This is the sort of question I would ask. Council, and then in the Observer, it said that the council, I think it was Councillor Pritchard in the Observer, so I'm taking it, I'm sure it's right, that the council supports businesses via 50-50 contributions. So can the council confirm that all businesses seeing their financial support cut will receive financial support from the council? And how much will it cost? And how will the council find the extra money needed, as we are committed to finding 50 million in cuts in the next 2 years? So my concerns and concerns of others are that the hard work of our officers will be undermined by the Welsh Assembly's cuts, which has kicked the legs out from under the master plan. So we just think that's just not fair. That's not a fair thing. My question is, right, which I'd like to put to the committee because of what I just read. I'd ask the committee, is there any further action required by the committee to incorporate changes to the master plan to support and grow the local business, pub and restaurant sectors? That's my question. So if you...
Okay, I'm going to ask our Cabinet member, Deputy Speaker, Councillor Pritchard, to give you a better reply on this.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Jones. Thank you for sending those bullet points through. I think I can try and address some of them. But if I go through from the top, you're right to say that this is a Welsh Government cut to rate relief from those properties. I think valued at over £6,000. I think that's the right square meterage, from 75 to 40. This will have an impact on those businesses. There's no doubt about that. We've got 522 businesses that will be impacted by the decision from Welsh Government, and collectively that's a loss of just over £1 million, actually 1.095 million to those businesses. In relation to what I've said in the Caerphilly Observer, yeah, you're absolutely correct. A 50-50 contribution is via the Caerphilly Enterprise Fund, which has been a very popular fund in getting financial assistance out to many businesses over the length and breadth of Caerphilly County Borough. And I can just refer you back to October 2023, when I think I spoke to this committee and said that the fund has safeguarded 426 jobs and created 149 up until that date. The fund was initially increased threefold back in 2022, but this has been boosted at regular opportunities. There's a couple of press releases that I've sent on to the chair of the committee, and there's been a decision by the SPF board recently to earmark further money to the Caerphilly Enterprise Fund, because we know that it's having real terms impacts on the business community. You may have seen various press releases showing that how the fund can actually help, and it's anything up to £25,000 match funded, and we certainly encourage businesses to apply. In terms of your comments on, I think you said kicking the legs under from the Blackwood Master Plan, and I've also seen comments from Councillor Dix about words to the effect of the end of the high street. I wouldn't say that at all, and I certainly wouldn't agree with those comments. undoubtedly, this is not going to be welcome for any business who's going to find themselves paying more in business rates. But in terms of the Blackwood master plan, it's more than Blackwood Town Centre. We're looking at transport and employment from the greater Blackwood area, which includes areas such as Podlam Froith, Kevin Forest, Pengham, and various other wards as well. So I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I suppose that the last question is that what can we do more? Well, certainly since the decision was made by Welsh Government, I've been having, as you'd imagine, conversations with officers about what further we can do more, and certainly on that Caerphilly Enterprise Fund allowance that we've set aside, we will be making regular improvements, regular additions to that funding stream. So I'd like to take this opportunity by again highlighting the good work that's done. I'm happy to send out any emails to any member of the committee about how to spread the word about that fund. It's having real good benefits for the businesses out there. If I've missed anything, Chair, I'm happy to come back in. Councillor Jones, if you want to ask any further questions, but I'm more than happy to. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Jones?
Yeah, I take on board everything you've said. The only thing I would ask is that my question at the end was, does this was for the committee to come back and to agree? Do we need to look again at the master plan to add this extra information onto it? Because would it be something that would need to be incorporated into the master plan to support and grow the local businesses? Because that's the problem, or the concerns that there is that if I take on board what Councillor Pritchard is saying, that he will be contributing 50% if the businesses are eligible, but would this be written into the master plan? Could it come back to the committee for an extra addition into the master plan for it? Is it important enough? That was a question I'd like answered.
As you know,
that's a decision for the committee, not for me. Yeah.
No. Before I pass on to Mark Williams, you do know now, because we agreed at the last meeting for this to go out for consultation.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you.
It was put out for consultation. That's what we agreed at the last meeting,
right,
for the master plan, the consultation. So when it's gone through the consultation, then it can come back to this committee for us to look at. Right. Before then it goes to cabinet. But Mark, do you want to come in, Mark Williams?
Yeah, I think you probably said it. Thanks, Chair. The master plan is currently live in its consultation phase. It started the consultation at the beginning of January. Those businesses affected by the Welsh Government decision will have their opportunity to have a say on the master plan. And if they wish to raise their concerns about the effect it will have on them, then they can. There's more than ample opportunity for all sorts of companies, individuals, stakeholders, members, etc., to give whatever comments they want to, because that consultation, as I say, is live now and is live for a number of weeks yet.
Okay.
Okay, so as soon as the consultation's over, officers will look at it and then feed back into this committee. Because before it goes to cabinet, we'll come back to this committee. Okay, and we can put it on the programme. Yeah, before it to come back. Okay, so what I would say, Jan, is for those businesses that maybe some of them is in the widely and out there, because the separate master plan I think covers that there as well, didn't it? Not sure if it covers your area, does it?
Can't quite catch what you're saying, but get the gist of it. Yeah.
No, I just said if it's any of the businesses in your ward, if any in your ward is covered by the master plan, then you may be needing to be speaking to them businesses and asking them to feed into the master plan.
Yes. Okay.
It's a different it's a different master plan than you.
We are in a different sorry, NSC is a different master plan totally, but because
I understand.
yeah, right.
My mistake, but if you pass that there on, you know, to those in Blackwood that are asking you the questions,
Yes.
just ask them to keep their responses into the master plan, and
We
then we'll
will.
then come back to the officers and then come back to this committee.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
Happy with that?
I am, yeah, thank you. I just wanted to bring it forward and I'm very pleased, yeah.
Yeah.
Done what I'd asked.
That's great.
Thank you.
Therefore, that's what the call-in's for. Well, thank you very much. Any members? We go on to item 7, and that's the private information security updates. Councillor Nigel George or Cabinet Member for Corporate Services.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide members of the Scrutiny Committee with a status update in relation to the Council's approach to cyber and information security. This update is aligned to the Council's cyber security strategy and associated action plan, which was formally endorsed by Cabinet on the 30th of November 2022 and implemented in December 2022. In summary, since implementation of the strategy, positive progress has been made in all of the critical success factors within the strategy and action plan. It is important to acknowledge that the Council can never be 100% secure and there is further work to progress. However, we are in such a much stronger position than in December 22. It highlights the continuation of the positive work undertaken with both the corporate and education cybersecurity forums. A positive example of the impact of the education group can be seen in section 5.9 of this report. Within the corporate domain, positive examples can be seen in the progress details with section 5.10 of this report. We have introduced a new Matobo Cyber Ninjas training for all staff, with the ability to audit and track those who have completed the training. As of mid-October 2023, circa 97% of all corporate staff have completed this course. This is now being rolled out to all councillors. To further illustrate our progress, the Council has the ability to track our Microsoft Secure Core, which is a KPI generated in the Microsoft platform on how secure our Microsoft 365 environment is. In July 2023, our score was circa 65%, and as of November 2023, it is in excess of 80%, with further improvements expected over the coming months. For context, the average score for similar organisations is 47%. I move the recommendations to note the status, update and progress made in relation to cyber information security since the implementation of the cyber security strategy and associated action plan in December 2022. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We have got we've got our information security manager, Matthew, here to answer the questions you asked him before, Matthew, or
just as a sorry, Chair, so I've obviously procurement information. In terms of our strengthening of cyber security, we've strengthened the team. As you just mentioned, Matt Cuthbert came in December 22 within his current position. So that added support to Wes Collier and Ed Thompson, who've been in cyber security, information security previously. We've also taken on an apprentice and a student placement from Swansea University. So there's a number of other initiatives as well that we've captured and incorporated into our approach to cyber to further enhance our resilience and infrastructure. Matt is just going to cover off some other key points as well as part of the
Yeah, so as we mentioned there, we've also made good progress in getting closer to achieving PSN, which is the Public Services Network compliance. So at the moment, we've established a really good open and positive dialogue with our PSN assessor, to the extent that whilst we haven't quite got over the line with it just yet, he has written us an email of confidence in our ability to get PSN accreditation over the coming months.
And we're able to use that email sort of as our reference point in place of that certificate, something that we've actively gone out and done in discussions with accessing a system called JARD, which is the Joint Asset Recovery Database, which is something needed within trading standards and used to manage confiscation orders. The lack of direct access for them to JARD is currently one of the biggest pain points we've got as the council, not having that PSN certification, and something that should be resolved sort of in the next couple of weeks. Really, we've had that acceptance from them with everything that's gone ahead. We've also just had our latest annual IT health check just been completed just before Christmas, and that report has come in this side of it. That's currently being worked through by the security team to establish what we need to do going forward over the next coming days, weeks and months to put it in the best position possible. Other than that as well, we've had our key performance indicators mentioned as well around the Microsoft Secure Score. So like Councillor George said, this is something that Microsoft generates, and it looks to determine how secure our organisation is from the viewpoint of the Microsoft Defender suite. So to see where we've come from that, from the 65 up to the 80%, is a really positive show of how far we've come. And then something else we've been able to track is that security training and that percentage of staff that have gone through that. Something that's really key. As he highlighted there, there's also a council-specific version of that training that's available. We're slowly getting our way through working with the councillors on this. So far, we've had 13 complete the training and 6 more in progress. We're looking to set up a number of sessions with yourselves and the rest of the councillors going forward so that they can do this. We've already had one such session just before Christmas. And all 6 of those members are either completed or in progress, and I think it went quite well. So looking to keep that going as we go through the year. From a culture aspect of it in general, I think the organisation is moving in the right direction and a positive one. It's been through a combination of awareness raising, training, and then various work behind the scenes to sort of put controls in place that most people aren't going to see, but do put those protections in place, for example, around passwords and sort of the complexities that are being put behind the scenes there. A lot of our security staff also participate in a number of groups outside of the council themselves. So we're part of the Warning Advisory and Reporting Point, which is the WARP group, and then the Gwent Local Resilience Forum as well. So these provide us with the latest information on different cyber projects that are happening and threats across the Wales Gwent area as well, to make sure we're up to date on that. Moving on to the supply chain aspect, this is going to be a key area of work going forward for the council, as it is for all public and private sector organisations now, as more and more organisations are being compromised via their supply chains as opposed to themselves getting hit. So work has already begun across procurement and information services to make sure that we're asking the right questions at the onset with third parties, and the regular checks and due diligence is going throughout the whole contract process, not just at one point or another. Then sort of moving on to the incident response aspect, we're currently in process of updating our incident response policy and plan. So this will ensure we've got a consistent approach in place that escalates appropriately due to the type and severity and the impact of the cyber incident at hand. We're also looking to implement an exercise program. So that means making sure that that plan is tested on an annual basis as a minimum, so that the plans and procedures in place remain fit for purpose should the worst sort of happen. Building off that on the document review aspect, obviously we've touched on the cyber incident response policy there. We've also looked at with the supply chain work. We've already made some changes to the data processing agreement that we send out as our council. And then additionally, we're looking to update the information security policy as a whole in the new year. To reflect a lot of the changes that we've seen since it was last renewed, obviously with the pandemic and sort of all the changes in working that have happened the last few years as a result of that, and just business as usual, really. Then we've got the upcoming bit of work this year that's called the SOC SEAM project. So that references a Welsh Government initiative that is looking to implement a cross-council and cross-public sector in Wales security operations centre.
this will involve essentially the council and the data we already create from all our emails and all the things that we do on the web, plugging into the SOC. That information then being able to be analysed across the whole of the public sector to see if there's any patterns or any sort of activities that are happening maliciously across Wales, as well as our council specifically. So that should be coming sometime in the new year. The timelines are still quite uncertain around this, and exactly how it's going to be implemented is still a bit up for debate. But as soon as we find out, I'm sure we'll be passing that information on. The tender should be going out in the very near future, is what we've been told. So once that's out and once a winning bidder has been selected, all of that should sort of slide into place a bit as we go forward. And then sort of the last aspect of this is then the education and corporate domains as a whole. So on the education side, our Education Cybersecurity Forum has continued on a monthly basis since first meeting in May 2022. That includes staff from school support, information security, and then information governance attending at those. More of the work is sort of highlighted within the report. There's quite an extensive list, but two of the aspects of that is the forum group has issued a newsletter to schools that includes pertinent information relating to cyber and information security, as well as other aspects around the procurement and information services team. We've had a lot of good feedback on that and something we're looking to keep going forward. We've also set up multiple meetings now with the secondary school network managers, something that has been really beneficial in discussing a number of issues, as you know, cyber being one of them. And we're hoping that those additional meetings now are going to be more in place and become business as usual going forward. Then on the corporate side of it, our corporate forum, that's also continued on a monthly basis and includes staff from information security, digital solutions, digital infrastructure, and corporate support. Both of those groups have been massively important to the work that we've been able to do this past year. And then on the corporate side specifically, there's been multiple project groups that have been established with members of the forum across information security and digital services, and making sure we're managing that across the whole project, as opposed to us coming in near the end or them coming in near the end and going, this isn't going to work for how we're set up and everything like that. Just making sure it's a nice, smooth process throughout. And then also within that group, we're ensuring we're up to date with the latest NCSC guidance, and ensuring that our patches are up to date. If there's anything that's being exploited out in the open, that we might be at a chance of being able to check that and get that sorted with everyone in the room at sort of a monthly point, as opposed to sort of having to arrange that ahead of time. And then this year, and then within the notes as well of the report, there's a particular example with our digital infrastructure manager. Jonathan James was able to make a patch to sort of cover a vulnerability, and then it later came out a few months down the road that the very next day was when they started seeing mass exploitation of that out in the wild. So that was really positive to show that, you know, whilst it's good to say that we do that thing, it also matters, and it is a timely thing, and that it is very time sensitive. And then lastly, just sort of to conclude again, really, yeah, as we said, we can't guarantee 100% security as much as we would like to, but we are in a much stronger position than we were in December 2022, due to all the hard work that everyone involved has been in, not just the information security team. Both the education and the corporate forums have been massive catalysts for all the improvements and positive changes across those domains. And it's really led to not just an improved cyber posture, but also the culture, I feel, has improved quite a lot. And that's thanks in part to the successful rollout of the Matobo Cybers training as well, just sort of get it on everyone's mind, as well as all these changes that they're starting to see as well. But yeah, and thank you.
Quite good questions. Do we get any notes?
Yes and no is the answer. So we don't get many specific targeted attacks at us, but what often happens is there will be an issue that's quite widely publicized, say, I think that's off the top of my head. But there'll be certain vulnerabilities in certain systems. So like, for example, if there was an issue with Teams, they would just attack that issue with Teams that they could get access to. It wouldn't be necessarily Kafili. It would just be, if they find it, they'll try and hit it. So it's important that we're trying to avoid those ones really, those generic ones. Oftentimes, and I think just before Christmas we saw this, was that you'll get hit with people trying to log in with generic user names and passwords. So that's where that sort of comes in, of things like admin or John, and then sort of all the common passwords. So we, in that sense of, we don't get hit specifically a lot, but when it does happen and sort of the general attacks, they are happening quite frequently.
But the investment made as well with Office 365 E5 licensing across corporate domain, Landsweeper, and other products we've got in place that the security team and digital services manage, puts us in a healthy position to try to spot any of those vulnerabilities or attacks quite early. And the information we gather from the NCSC and other external parties and bodies as well helps us on that journey. But just to reiterate what Matt has said, and I know Councillor George said at the outset, we can't be 100% certain, but we are trying our best to ensure we try to minimise any potential mischief or within the organisation.
If you listen to the news, like, you know, because we're constantly being told there's teams in China and Russia and all, the constantly doing it, trying hackers all, you know, trying cyber attackers all, you know, as you know, so it's just, you know, just how much is going on. And
absolutely, one of the biggest vulnerabilities is obviously people, and I think everyone sees that in their private lives as well when it comes to the potential for cyber attacks, etc. I would encourage members to take up the cyber security training that's on offer. I know Welsh Government actually sponsor that for councillors. We are really keen for councillors to take that forward. I know councillors in the room have undertaken the training and some are in progress, but we would encourage everyone to progress that training. We have sent out emails around that, and we would encourage to do the same. We talked about the 97% for corporate staff. It's around 98% now, but we've got a good handle on those that haven't undertaken the training, whether they're new to the organisation or been on long-term absence. So we've got a good coverage around that from a corporate perspective, but we would really encourage members to take that forward.
okay, we do have some questions from members, and first up is Councillor Wright, please.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, my question is hopefully just quite technical, really. On the accreditation, and in the report, I had to Google PSN because sadly it was one of the ones that was missed that explained what it stood for. And what I found was it stood for Public Service Network. But then on the government website, it says that that's the legacy name, and they were directing me then towards the Future Network for Government. So I'm just checking in terms of the accreditation. I'm assuming that these sort of things sort of flow into one another, and that therefore we're not going for accreditation, something that's out of date. We are fully up to date with whoever we need to be accredited with. I'm trusting that's the case, just for confirmation, please. And thanks for all the brilliant work you're doing in keeping us safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so yeah, the PSN side of it does feed into that. We've actually had in our last walk meeting sort of confirmation that the PSN and the PSN accreditation and how that's done is going to be here to stay for sort of a bit longer than we thought initially, sort of a year ago. So we're sort of looking still at another 3, 4, 5 years of PSN accreditation, and that being what we should be aiming for before sort of deciding again to go in a different direction. Just to, I suppose, maybe add to that as well, there's another framework that's been suggested as a way of assessing our posture, I suppose, as a council. Central government have started to use it now. It's called the CAF. It's used with the cyber assessment framework. So that's used in the national infrastructure companies, so like energy, gas and electric, water companies, those side of things. It's being trialled as an option for councils as sort of that local government aspect. We're part of those pilots on the Welsh Government side, and we were part of the very first pilot at the start of last year. There should be some noise in the phase 2 happening early this year, and we'll be involved with that as well. So just sort of add to that and hopefully reassure you on that side of it.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed for a thorough answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Mann, next, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks for the excellent report, officers. This is probably for outside the meeting, but I did start the cyber security thing. I did a few modules, but when I tried to get back on a little while back, I just couldn't get a link. So maybe somebody can give me some advice outside the meeting, one of the relevant officers.
No, Colin, yeah, that's something we can look at and we can come back to you. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Williams, next, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I see from the report you're going to use this Microsoft attack to send out fake emails to staff. Well, how does that work? Is there a penalty if they keep getting caught out, or are they going to go back to retraining?
So with the attack simulator, that's something we're looking to roll out this year. Yeah, so essentially how that will work is that you'll get a fake phishing email. So then you'll click the link, it'll be the link, but it'll go through to us. And then instead of a hacker getting your details or something like that, you'll basically be forwarded to, I think it's a 2 or 3 minute training video, all within that one page. It will send you there. It'll also alert us just so we can keep track of if it's the same sort of teams that are doing it, or if it's a particular time of day, things like that. But no, there's no sort of punishment per se. It will just be sort of I think it's a 2 or 3 minute training video just on some of the areas to look out for in the email that didn't quite get caught in that.
It's ultimately there to support our training, but also our approach to the culture side of things as well. As we said earlier, the human personal side of things can be the most vulnerable area that people, the attackers try to expose, for want of a better word, and that's something we're keen to take forward now to support the training going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just as a couple of questions. Every time when Mark or Michelle, the IT, you know, they're saying join them, is it VPN and that then picks, you know, does that help you when you do join through that there first?
Yeah, so all the VPN and Citrix and all of that, yeah, basically it does help. I'm trying to think of an analogy. It would be like if you're walking into a supermarket, but you're going across the road, it would then be putting a bridge across that road. So then you just know it's going to be a bit safer. You don't have to watch out for cars or anything like that. You could just get straight there, and it just makes that journey a bit easier. And the protection's been put in behind the scenes, then you don't have to sort of worry about it.
Not just nagging me for a second off, but that's a good reason.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, members, we are just to know the progress in this here, and I think we've done that there. There is no more questions. So it's just for me to thank all one men in black for protecting us. Keep doing it, guys. But you know, we know you're doing a great job. So please thank all the team from us, and we look forward to the next update.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You don't go if you don't want to stay. So, okay.
That's all. Thank you
very much. Okay, members, we will move on to our last item, isn't it? Yeah. The community benefits guidance for projects and developments with potential for significant community benefits. Our deputy leader, again, and cabinet member for prosperity, regeneration and climate change. Councillor Pritchard.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to seek the views of members of for the proposed community benefits guidance for projects and developments with the potential for significant community impact before the decision by Cabinet in February. The report will highlight the role of Caerphilly County Borough Council in working with private sector partners in partnership with our local communities to secure meaningful and sustainable benefits. I remember a question, Chair, on the progress of the report asked by Councillor Hussey at the last meeting of the Housing and Environment Scrutiny Committee on December the 12th. So we've moved quite quickly to present the policy before members of this committee, the Corporate and Regeneration Committee. This report outlines the draft version of the Community Benefits Guidance for projects and developments with the potential for significant community impact. It recognises the need for such guidance given the numerous potential opportunities for major projects and developments, including low carbon energy developments, wind, solar, hydroelectric and hydrogen, and potentially decommissioning and remedial projects. This guidance is intended for developers seeking to work with, to harness and utilise the resources of the county borough and to ensure that the communities derive the maximum benefit from hosting such developments in their locality through the provision of direct voluntary community benefits. We recognise that the power to simply tell developers major projects that they have to do what they have to do to compensate communities doesn't exist. But that said, we should not simply accept that there can be nothing to be done, and a start in place is where we have to come from. And this document is very much about setting what we considered best practice. There will be community groups throughout Caerphilly County Borough that will not have a policy in place, and they can produce to major companies when considering community benefits. Therefore, they might appear to be a mixed bag in terms of what communities may are offered by varying companies, but the community benefits guidance is aimed at providing a basis for what we see as a level of expectation. Council will encourage developers to use the guidance and communicate directly with us at the earliest possible opportunity to secure the greatest level of benefits possible for local communities. Community engagement and effectively involving the full breadth of local community in development at CBC is crucial. The council has a key role in ensuring that as wide as possible representation is heard, especially from groups in the community whose voices are less well heard. Anticipated that this guidance will support our communities impacted by major developments to maximise the monetary and social potential provided by CRCs. It is also provide developers with a consistent understanding of the expectations of communities in the county borough. Thank you, Chair.
So Richard, we actually had a brilliant pre-meeting on this here, so we did. And, so we do have a senior policy officer, Heather Delanet, with us. Do you want to say anything, Heather, before we go into the questions?
No, I think the only thing I would sort of reiterate, and I think Councillor Pritchard did say it, but I think we need to sort of make it absolutely clear that this is not, it has no formal legal status, it is purely guidance, and we can't make anybody do it, and it's also not part of the planning process. So it's purely voluntary, it's purely guidance. So provided members understand that, I don't want them thinking they've got more ability to influence things than we actually do.
The part of our debate earlier was the concern that we had that different projects running about were being done differently. Like one would have got this for that, and someone else would have got that. But this it's good that the council has some sort of framework there in place ready for us. So we'll go to the questions. Start off with Councillor Thomas, please. So if you want to put your hands up, members.
Thanks, Chair. Stole my thunder a little bit then, because obviously it's not a policy, it's guidance or whatever, but just a little bit of clarification on the wording. Community benefit contributions definitions. 5.2, community benefit contributions are goodwill financial contribution voluntarily. And 5.3, community benefit contributions can be monetary. It's a bit vague, but obviously, as I said when I started, you stole my thunder by it not being a policy or anything cast in stone. So, a little bit of guidance around the wording, maybe.
We can take that on board. I think it's generally monetary. It's, you know, when it's been done with renewables, it's tended to be a monetary sum per kilowatt hour generated and all that sort of stuff. But equally, it could be that they, you know, the developer has a particular, I don't know, apprenticeship scheme or a traineeship scheme. So they'll take people, you know, they'll say, well, we'll put so many people through our traineeship or to university or whatever. That wouldn't be a direct monetary impact. It would be a sort of in-kind, you know, thing. So we can definitely look at clarifying that in the final document, though, so that it's clear what non-monetary is.
Yeah. Can I just go back, Chair?
Yeah, please.
I get what you're saying there, because I spoke to a developer within my ward, and can I say our conversation was quite fruitful. He ended up painting the fence on the community hall for us. So, you know, there was something there, but like the wording is just a bit vague for me, that's all. Thanks for the reply.
Okay, Councillor Adams, you had a question? The point?
It was just pointing out that if we all read that first line of 5.2, it ended up saying voluntarily, and that can be something or nothing as far as the local community may end up for having to look at. They've done all this, they are making money out of something. What are we going to get out of it? Because it may be having an impact on us that we didn't like and wouldn't have liked if we'd known all the facts at the beginning. Voluntarily was something that Heather has pointed out that we really have to take notice of. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Priest? You had a point to do with Denver.
No, thank you. No, Chair, I haven't asked.
I'll ask the question for you then, Denver. Do you want to
go on
about the criteria? How is the criteria set? Obviously, it's voluntary then, isn't it?
Yes, basically the criteria for how much, you know, how and what communities would get would be a negotiation between themselves and the developer. In the guidance, we have put a sort of the current expectations around renewables from the Welsh Government website, and we would keep updating that. But as for what we'd actually say, we can't say very much, really. What we have done is that we've kind of said that if, you know, there are certain key principles that we would expect developers and communities to kind of look at. So things like making sure that they look at the proximity principle. So the closer you are to the nasty or even the good, perhaps, the more you'd benefit. There has to be involvement of local people. Any groups that are funded are properly constituted. There's due diligence around where the money's come from and going to, reporting, that sort of stuff. But actually saying, as a developer, you are doing X, so therefore you will give the community Y number of pounds. We can't do that. All we can do is try and give our communities the information so that they can go sort of not a bit better armed than perhaps developers might like them to be. Well, no, that's not fair, because most developers actually are, you know, are prepared to do this. It's just, you know, trying to level the playing field a little.
Councillor Mann, please.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Heather, for your report. I've heard of developments in, not necessarily here, but places where communities have had little or no benefit from, say, wind farm development or whatever. And from what you say, this appears to be looking to address that situation, make it less likely, well, at least in our county borough. Is that right? Yeah.
That's the plan.
And the other thing I think, just to clarify, again, the whatever community is affected as per the SIL, the roof tax, it is that community that gets the benefit. And would a community council be regarded as a proper constituted body? I assume it would be.
I would assume so too, provided that obviously it has a constitution and has a way of being able to demonstrate that it does represent more than, you know, two people who thought that painting a, sorry, I'm going to go back to painting a fence, but painting a fence was a good idea when the rest of the community might have felt that actually, you know, having a new fence was a better idea. That I think that's kind of where we're aiming at, is to make sure that as much of the community is involved in these discussions rather than it being a sort of, you know, behind closed doors discussion.
Yeah, no, as per this council, obviously, community councillors are elected to represent the views of the community. So I would have thought that would have been respected. But thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Wright, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a query on the scheme with regards to those in developments next to wards, because we do have some sort of isolated wards, for example, that are only served by a single councillor, and then that don't actually have a community or town council layer of representation. And therefore, the idea, what would be the situation for the local councillor there, should they be a member of the planning committee, and issues then with potential conflict of interest in their ability to help their community in terms of help with the negotiations with the developer, when they could therefore also end up sitting on the planning committee or having to recuse themselves from that due to their involvement with the community. And it's yeah, how do we help those communities which don't have councils, town councils, and also make sure that councillors representing wards affected without that representation can help them while not also obviously affecting the planning?
Very good question, and if you'll allow me, I will go and ask planning and legal for their views on that, because I don't want to say something that is wrong or puts any of you in a position where you thought you were doing one thing and actually, you know, you've ended up in a worse place than you might have been.
Exactly. I think there might need to be something, I don't know where, whether or not it's this document, but somewhere else. But that was something I noted that was missing. So thank you very much indeed. We'll look forward to hearing back on that.
I'll bring in Kath Peters on this, and then I'll bring in our deputy leader as well.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. I'm just going to supplement what my colleague Heather has said in relation to that obviously we recognise that as being a particular difficulty. If there were a single member ward, they could not participate in the planning decision and also then advocate for a community benefit scheme. However, you'll see from the draft document that the Council's Regeneration team will have a key role in advocating and negotiating for communities using this guidance. And also we have obviously the Caerphilly Care Service as well, who are very well embedded within communities and are, you know, one of their main roles is around community regeneration and community engendering community support and resilience. So there are council teams who would be responsible for doing that within the local community as well. And likewise, our colleagues in the Gwent Association of Voluntary Organisations, the local CBC, they also have community development officers. So the purpose of this guidance is supposed to be multifaceted to set up the expectation for the county borough, but there are numerous bodies who could pick up this guidance and use it or work with it if it were a situation there was a single member ward and the councillor was precluded from being involved.
Yeah, it's just thanks. There's just clarification on this, because it's sort of like the officers, if you like, for the council are different to councillors, and everyone wants to help.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard.
Yeah, only briefly, Chair. Town and community councils have been brought up. Categorically, they are accountable. We appreciate that about a third of the borough, if not maybe slightly more, it doesn't have a town and community council. But I just wanted to make that absolutely clear. In terms of the geographical spread where a development is, depending on the size of it, I would say that would mean how many sort of what the area, the radius would be. So you couldn't say 2 or 3 or one councillor would cover the area. Obviously, if you've got a massive development, that would cover a wider geographical area. But just to highlight, I know it's been said a number of times, and I think members of the committee have broadly welcomed, you know, the step to make a policy of the council. This is very much, you know, a starting point from where to engage with the big developers, and I think realistically as well, if I'm being honest, perhaps those big,
Just finished it. Can you please put yourself on mute? Hear people talking.
perhaps those big developers, you know, you may think that they wouldn't welcome it. I think perhaps they would welcome it, in that the council is very serious about engaging with developers in a constructive way. So I certainly think this is a positive way forward. Thank you, Chair.
Can I speak, Chair?
Yes, you can.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks to Jamie, Deputy Leader, for that. It's just that, yeah, as acknowledged, it being a risk, I think we might need some more firming up, because yes, of course, yeah, big developments have multiple wards, but we just I don't want any ward to end up in a situation where they're not represented by their councillor involved in these negotiations with the developers. I'm sure, yeah, the officers and all the support from the council and Gavo, etc., is superb. We know that. But residents like to be represented by their representative, obviously, who knows that particular ward. And, you know, we all help everyone. That's the whole point of Team Caerphilly. But on the ground level, I think we need to make sure that, you know, individual wards can be represented by elected members. Thank you.
Councillor, please. You're on mute, Deborah.
Right, thank you, Chair. I think it gets back to what I was saying right at the beginning. Are we going to have a league table of where these pylons are going to go up to incorporate the best deal for the company that wants to do it? And then before the company looks at where it's going to go, it'll look at where the best conditions are, brownfield sites, beautiful sites, access to it, right? I just want to know, and I still haven't heard it yet, the protection that'll be there for the choice. Because obviously the councils, let's be honest, the councils themselves and the councils have no more input to this other than to complain about it. I want to know right from the off the actual initial conditions is going to go down to control the power of the companies that are coming in to put these pylons up, and in black and white what that entails if you are 1, 2, 3, 4 on a league of whatever it is, exactly what you can expect, not have, expect. Up to now, I have heard nothing on the probabilities. I don't think there's, at this moment in time, there's enough consideration going into it on the power that these companies are going to have, whether you like it or not. Unless you put it there, they will come back and kick our backsides. Please believe me. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone want to? There's not.
I would.
Did you want to reply first?
Yeah, I would say that all of that, what you were speaking about, Councillor Priest, sits within the planning framework. That would be for planning to agree that they could put stuff up or not, or whatever else. Either way, if planning is granted, this is an additional thing that communities could have. That's the best I can give you, I'm afraid, because the decision whether or not to grant planning for whatever doesn't rest within this guidance. It rests within the planning and the planning framework.
Mark Williams is going to come in on that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think it's slightly worse than that because in most cases, the planning and the ability to refuse or grant permission doesn't even rest with this council. Most of these developments are classed as developments of national significance. And the decision therefore rests with PEDW, or the Planning Environment Decisions Wales. Welsh Government, body of Welsh Government, they determine these plan applications. All we are as members and as a planning authority are consultees.
As Denver will know, and the reason why he had been brought up, Newbridge and Abercan has got the one now and it's looking to go. And of course, they're courting us now at the minute, you know, getting to the meetings and saying about these funds and that there, you know. So I think it's going to help us, you know, as we're going in to kind of look at, negotiate or whatever, you know, what they're going to give us. So if we kind of know what type of wattage is going to be generated by them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They get per kilowatt hour in that guidance, Chair.
So if we kind of have an idea of what we should be expecting for our community, what we were kind of looking at is it really then up to us to set like the boundaries where it can be spent within our communities? Would that be up to us or them, or that's just down to negotiations, I would imagine, be spent?
I think it's a discussion. I mean, you know, in some cases it would be clear cut. So, for example, if somebody, I don't know, built wind turbines on the side of the heads of Valleys Road, it's clearly the Rumney area, isn't it? You know, it's not going to be Abercan or Newbridge, you know. Your scenario is a little bit different because you have a couple of wards there, don't you?
Yes.
Abercan, Crumlin. So it may be more than one community, but I think that's down to discussion and negotiation.
Yeah, have a Dennis maybe as well, like, you know, so it could be, but we would be happy, no, like, there's the pot of money we spread out between each area, you know, so it'll be fair. But that would be down to our negotiations, and hopefully we're guidance, if we get the council guidance there, that they'll be in place, that would be very helpful. So it's because speaking with the guys from the Romney, you know, David and that there, they were kind of telling us they get so much and another area gets so much, by the events get so much, you know, because it covers different boroughs as well, you know, so brilliant. Okay, Councillor Williams.
Chair, can I just come back on just a quick one and I'll shut up then, that's my lot, right? All I'm saying is don't disagree with everything you said, but it still goes back to the one that is going to build them, and they're going to have the controlling power, no matter what we say, and no matter what we like to think can be said to them. You have dealt with companies like this. You believe me, if they'll come there, right, they won't want it on the side of the mountain up in Abercan or something like that. They want it where they want it, where they're going to build it, what they're going to pay for it, what they're going to pay you to have it there, and whether you like it or not, that's how it will work. Because they going by that, all they can say is, oh, fair enough. Don't worry about Abercan. We go up to come to the area, we go over the bridge anyway. And unless you get the tablets of stone, it's going to come back and kick us in the backside. I say no more now, Chair. That's my feeling on it. Thank you.
If we go on your argument, right, they'll get what they want anyway. So they're going to get it. And if we get nothing, then we will get nothing. But at least if they're offering something, then we should be taking that something. Because they're going to get it there anyway, according to you. So they're going to be allowed to put it there. So we might as well get something out of them putting it there in the first place and sharing with our communities. And if it's something that comes in annually, we can use them funds within our local communities for good use. When it's something that's going to be put there, whether we want to or not. Because it's really, as listening to what I say, these decisions are not taken locally. Taken nationally down in the Welsh inspectors. So we might as well get. You're mute, Denver, I can't hear you. Okay. Right. Councillor Williams there, please. Denver's on mute, so.
Right, thank you, Chair. with regards to these turbines, they only have a certain lifespan. And if this if developers, companies are going to go bust at 12 months before they're supposed to be taken down, what happens then? Are the council going to be stuck with a big bill for removing these things? Or is there a plan in place to guarantee that it doesn't happen?
But it would, if anything, it would need to be covered by planning conditions imposed by PEDU.
Would that be the planning conditions from the council, or because of its money? So the planning, that would be made by the Welsh Government, yeah. Well, what they're saying, that would be decided by Welsh Government, and I think during the pre-meeting, one of the people did bring up the issue that they have to put so much into a fund each year over the course of the life of the thing, then for when it is, then there's money there, then to remove that. You know, so if that's the type of conditions that they put on it, then so be it. Councillor Priest, do you want to come back in, Denver? I did offer you, but you were on mute.
Yeah, no, I appreciate, I do appreciate, Jen. I appreciate all the information I've had given me tonight. But call me suspicious, very suspicious if you want to, but I see things happening even now where people, like someone just mentioned about things going defunct and all that and getting rid of it, and that the people that's living there at this moment in time and the companies that dealt with them, they have gone what they call tits up, lost nothing, they lost everything. The companies that run in there didn't. That's all I'm saying. And I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. But there you are. I'm a suspicious sort of person, full stop.
Let's hope that is wrong, Denver, and we all benefit from it. You know, if it's going ahead.
I hope so, Gary. I really do. Anyway, thank you, Chair. Thank you all.
Okay. Councillor Leonard, you've got your hand raised. Can you tell me why? Because you're not a member of this committee. Is it to do with your cabinet position? Yeah, okay. Go ahead then, please. Are you to speak?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of information with regards to development of national significance. If, you know, we have 6 weeks to give a local impact report, and once that report has gone through, they obviously they give you 6 weeks consultation. So local residents can still contact PEDU and put in if they feel strongly about something, they can actually contact PEDU and put their thoughts forward. So even though Welsh Government make the decisions, you can actually have a say with regards to the consultation. Just wanted to tell people that.
And this is why then that they contact the councillors and the local communities beforehand, trying to get us on board by offering us sweeteners, and so that we don't put these complaints in, that we sit there and say, yeah, we're happy for this because we're all going to gain. Yeah.
But you have got your opportunity to have your say.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Priest, you put your hand up again. Denver? Yeah. No, legacy hand was it, Denver? Okay, there's no other questions then, members? No, okay. Okay, so the aim of this was to consider, provide comments. I think we've provided quite a few comments on this here. I think the general feeling, we would all welcome the guidance that we can go to these firms, companies, and say, you know, this is the council, this is where we stand, what we're kind of looking for, so we kind of get equal all over. Would you agree with that, members? Yeah, most of them are, so that's good enough. So that is noted, and that big consent. So thank you all very much, members. Have a great night, and we'll see you back couple of weeks.